smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
All right, now, listen, man. Joe been wilding on the pod, saying a lot of crazy jokes. And the folks don't like it. And he just got roasted. Yes, he did. Listen now, man. I came back to y'all with the files, man. Listen. Joe been wilding. He been wilding. Let's get into this. Marc and Ish put Joe in his place. Right? I ain't gonna lie, this joint got layers. So listen, I'm gonna break it down for you. It all started, right, on this audio-only episode when Joe Budden doing what he does best, throwing subtle shots in the forms of jokes, right? He tried to clown Marc Lamont Hill over what his wife gives him as gifts. Now, you know, he was trying to paint a picture like Marc's wife might be some light sentimental time and not giving fire gifts. But Marc, he wasn't having it. Marc flipped that entire mood in the room, right? He calmly responded that his wife had gifted him an original Malcolm X artifact, something fire. You know what I mean? Something where real historical value and serious monetary worth was like there. You already know. Right? He said, my wife bought me an original Malcolm X piece. You know it costed bread. You feel me? That's not your average Amazon wishlist item. That's a power gift. Like, it's like a little married man flex type gift. You feel me? But Joe, instead of, acknowledging the moment, he hit back with what came off as passive aggressive, a low-key jab. You know what I mean? So he said, gifts probably don't mean much to a brother with a black card. Right? Now, let's pause right there for a second. When someone hits you with a compliment disguised as a dig like that, do you respond or do you just let them drown in their own envy? Look at the files.
She got an original piece of art made by Malcolm X, made by the photographer that was friends with Malcolm X.
That's dope. Wait. Are you serious? An original piece by Malcolm?
Yes. A photography, yeah. So I'm like, she finds dope ass. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, she's
that's crazy.
Super thoughtful. And my wife doesn't like to spend a lot of money. So like, a lot of times her gifts are more thoughtful than expensive. But this was one of the times where it was the marriage of the two. Because I tend to buy the most expensive thing because it's easier sometimes. And she tends to get the most thoughtful thing. So
that's all the way. That's super fire.
Yeah, but as growing up, I didn't get that shit. So I don't have gift. My relationship to gifts isn't the same. You know what I mean? Books for me are like a love language. So
no, that makes sense, man. With a black card. What y'all say?
This motherfucker.
Yo, gifts probably don't.
I got you, Joe. I told you.
Probably don't even mean black card, man.
I called my man for yours. He just. What's funny is when I called him in December. No, what was funny is I didn't tell you this because I didn't want to add insult to injury. But
you working with a plat?
You
working with a plat?
Yeah, gold. Ish. That's the thing. I didn't know they came in that color. Joe said he had a I didn't know. I didn't know y'all. I didn't know they had them colors, fam. But I sent it to him. You were going through something publicly at the time.
Maybe now that you're a part of the conscious community, you'll grow and then they'll offer you something.
Yeah. Maybe you should jump out our conversation with your little TD Banks card. Hey, how about that? Hey, with your little TD Banks card you got, maybe you should mind your fucking business.
I got the same card you got. Ooh. Back him out.
That's the worst. That hit him in the gut right there. That was a gut shot.
It's all right.
Well, it would if I wasn't eligible for the one you got.
That's fair.
But you ain't get an offer yet.
It's
because Marc is a liar.
They determine who's eligible.
Marc is a liar.
First of all, you don't determine you're eligible. They determine who's eligible.
He's right.
So you gotta, you know what I mean?
This what Isaiah Thomas say? Listen, I met the criteria.
Exactly. Yeah.
What happened was I hit the VP up to get it for him, and I said Joe Budden, and he sent me back.
You hit Vance?
The VP of the company, and he sent me back an article about you. He said him Marc with that article. It was in December, and I didn't respond, so I haven't said anything to him since. So I was like, I'm gonna wait like a good 3 months so everything dies down.
We can't offer a card.
I'm about to ask what article he sent.
You said the ring can.
that's
The
fucked
guy
up.
with the shirt off? That you talking about?
Oh, that's fucked up.
The nigga with the chest hair.
Hey, yo, we got a 4-inch minimum.
Holy shit.
A 4-inch minimum.
That's great. That's disgusting.
Nigga said, we don't got no spending limit. We got a different limit.
This nigga. Oh shit. He said 4-inch minimum.
Anyway,
I'm gonna circle back for you.
While all of this is funny, there'll be no need to do that as my spending habits have changed.
Really?
Yeah.
You still spend enough to meet that criteria. There's no way you don't. I know how much you spend.
Yo, let me just get some points.
Because you've made
Right? Now, Mark, he stayed cool. He was locked in. He hit Joe with a humble checkmate. He let the room know that he has, he not that he only has a black card, but he let the room know that he was the one who called the guy over at American Express to help Joe get the black card. But here's where it got spicy. The Amex guy sent back an article from December about Joe. And we all know around that time, that's when Joe was going through the sleepwalking and all that craziness. You know what I'm saying? And the room lost it. Everybody went crazy in the room. I was going crazy when I heard it. Now, it was one of those deep laughs that, came from truth wrapped in pettiness too. But Mark wasn't done. He kept the pressure on with the slick, nasty comebacks that hit harder because they were laced with facts. Ish jumped in and made it even messier by saying, I saw, they saw Joe's joint. You know what I'm saying? And it was under the 4 inches. And that's the reason why he didn't really meet the Amex criteria, because he under 4 inches. And, you got to be over 4 inches to have a black card. Like, that's what Ish was trying to say. And it got real nasty. You know what I mean? Talking about Joe's manhood and all that. That's crazy. But hold up. How did we get from Amex black cards to this? Right? Joe wasn't feeling that joke at all. Like, you could just hear it. Like, you could just tell the body language, all of that was off. He tried to pivot by saying, like, his spending habits have changed. You know what I mean? But Mark was not letting up. Like, Joe was like, oh, I don't spend the same way I used to. But Mark was like, nah, you spend enough. You spend enough to meet the criteria. I know what you spend. You know what I'm saying? And that line right there, that cuts deep too. Not only was it a flex that Mark has, insight to Joe's financial world, but it was also a dig at Joe's lack of control of his spending. And when Mark started to bring up the actual numbers, I cut it off right there. You know what I mean? Because it was a little too much. You could feel Joe trying to crawl out the grave. They were digging for him. You know what I'm saying? Mark had already placed himself above Joe by offering to get him the black card in the first place. Like, you got to get your boss, the guy that's paying you, a black card. That's social dominance. That's hierarchy talk. Then he casually reminded everyone he hadn't even responded to the Amex rep because of the article. Where Joe was sleepwalking, he was naked and all that on a Ring camera. Like, he threw the alley, dunked it himself, and smiled while doing it. You feel me? Like, that's crazy. Ish added his own layer of disrespect when he asked Joe if he even had a platinum card. Mark hit it out the park with, I didn't even know they had that color. and Joe clapped back weakly, telling Ish to go somewhere with his TD Bank card. And Ish, he got, he said something to Joe like, I got the same one you got, homie. And that was a shot, like, for Ish and Joe to have the same, Amex cards, and Joe be talking all this big money talk and all that to Ish, and they got the same color card. Like, you don't got the same color as Mark. You know what I mean? That's the guy that's cooking you on the pod. Like, he cooking, he got the black card. Like, he coming in with Dunkin' Donuts. He got a bookstore. Like he doing big things. You know what I'm saying? But Joe tried to save face talking about being eligible for Mark's level of Amex. But again, Marc wasn't letting up. He reminded him that the VP sent over that sleepwalking article. And he hasn't responded. Right? And we all know why. Like, this is too crazy. So let me ask y'all this. When you're getting cooked by your own crew, do you keep fighting or do you tap out and laugh with them? You know, and it didn't really seem like Joe was laughing with them in this one. What made this whole segment to me even more wild was that, you know, Joe is an instigator. You know, and he was getting walked down and nobody came to his rescue. Not Ish, not Marc, not even Flip. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody did anything. Is the power dynamic on the Joe Budden podcast shifting right in front of our eyes? Like, Marc came in with the calm dominance. He didn't yell. He didn't get emotional. He let the truth sting. He's married, financially stable, historically cultured, and flexing without trying. You know, Joe looked like a bachelor, like the bachelor uncle who's still trying to keep up, you know, with the grown men at the table. You know, usually Flip is like his attack dog. You know, he was quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's the real alpha right now at the JBP? Is it Marc, Joe? Like, who is it? You know, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the clip that I played for you. You know what I mean? And you know how we do. And we'll be back with the files.
My guy Dub, too. That's my man, though.
Gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.